Good evening. The Who's today in Sydney were on at Rosehill. It was Derby Day in Melbourne. Horseman Bowman, I think, rode the winner of the Derby. Now, just very quickly, we had a meeting, of course, last Sunday. It was a ghost town at Wyong on Sunday, and there were 8 races on Sunday at Wyong, and 8 favourites won. The track was upgraded from dead to good. Thought it'd always be good. The rail was in the normal position, and there didn't seem to be any bias. There was a strong southeasterly blowing, or not strong, but a nice solid breeze blowing, which didn't have any effect. You could win on the fence. But it possibly could have been slightly inferior, but you wouldn't be making any really big adjustments. But as I say, 8 favourites won. There were 7 races. 8 races, and the last winner, well, it led all the way. Ken Seller. It'll be very short odds when it comes to town, of course. It was eased up to win by 6 lengths. It was taken straight to the lead, stayed close to the fence. So I'm most probably having myself on there. It could have been a little bit worse, but most probably not. Then we went to Warwick Farm on the Wednesday. Now, this was completely different. On Wednesday at Warwick Farm, the track was given out good. The rail was in the normal position, and the inside was no good. There was a southeasterly blowing, only steady, didn't seem to have any effect on any placings or positions, but of course the fence did. If you were on the fence, close to the fence, coming down the side and the turn and in the straight, you didn't have any chance at all. There was a leader that won very easily in the 3rd race, Dream Empress. I Own the Lead, Gay Train, Hieronymus Ride, and it led, but he was a good 3 and 4 off the fence all the way. And when he turned for home, he finished in the middle of the track. So it was blind Freddie could have seen at Warwick Farm the inside was kaput. We went to Gosford on Thursday. The track was given out dead. The rail was in the normal position at Gosford, and I must say at Gosford on Thursday the fence was a little bit inferior. The first favourite, an unraced runner, Gaillard, trained by Peter Snowden, ridden by Jovial Josh Parr. It had the outside alley field of 6. I think there were only at Gosford on Thursday. It'll just tell you how the game's going. There were only 41 runners. There were only 7 races. 7 races at the provincials on a Thursday, and only 41 runners all day. And as I say, the fence, it did lead all the way. It was the only runner to lead all the way on the fence. Off the fence was a little bit better. Off the pace, or outside the lead, or off the pace and coming a little bit wideish on the turn, and a little bit wideish in the straight, was a little bit better. You know, with all these meetings, of course, they're just the provincial meetings and the city meeting we had. We've got all of these. I keep on the Sunday racing, and all of these meetings they have on during the week, the Mondays and the Fridays. They all used to be on a Saturday. And then everybody knows, of course, now that even the officials in charge, everybody knows that the TAB is the cancer of racing. How long is it going to go on for, or how long can the racing game last the way it's going at the moment? With, you know, the clubs can't survive. The Melbourne Cup only comes around once a year, and days like today, and you can't, or pubs will tell you they can't They don't make any money out of selling beer, of course. The pubs make money out of poker machines. Are there poker machines on race courses? They'll need them shortly because, well, they do charge fortunes for the alcohol. Someone was telling me that at Warwick Farm the other day, on Wednesday, they bought a bottle of beer was at Warwick Farm on the Wednesday. Well, after that, if they were just to go down the road and buy a carton, it cost them about $36 for 24, a couple of dozen. About $1 something, dollar up something each. They sell them for $8.50 at Warwick Farm on Wednesday. So you know they can't survive by, if they sell them billions of them, I suppose they can, but they can't make any money out of selling alcohol to the drunks and these young people who where the race courses are turning into clubs and pubs, not race courses. The betting ring today at Rosehill was disgraceful. Like the prices that we bookies give on course, we just annihilate any of the first of all the TAB and any of the corporates. The figures that you can get, the prices that are bet in the marketplace on course in Sydney are far better than you can shop around and get anywhere if you're a good shopper. I can't understand why there aren't more people there, but professionals betting. And you know that some of these clubs, they're not making any money whatsoever. Who's going to be the first club to come along and say to the filthy TAB, which is the cancer of racing, look, we're not even going to put out any acceptances here for this meeting, because if we do, we're only going to, nobody comes to this meeting. Gosford was like Wyong last Sunday, Gosford this Thursday, it was a ghost town. There were apparently 300 people in a function. That's what had happened. The race clubs trying to survive, getting old age pensioners to come to the races. You can't blame them. They don't bet. If they do bet, they bet in nickels and dimes. And there's 300 people up in a grandstand, and they're all 55 and 60 over. And as I say, they don't bet. The race clubs are trying to get survive by getting pensioners and putting on these functions for them. But when it comes, the way you make money in the racing game is by betting turnover. It's the only way. And what's, you know, as I say, a race club's going to come along one day and say, now look, TAB, stick your filthy contract, you know where. We're going to rip it up. We're not racing. We're not going to run this meeting and run at a loss. So you're giving everyone two and 300 for these trainers to give to the owners to take these horses, so poor mugs can bet the TAB with us. You know, you race clubs start to think of this. You think you're going bad now. That there's only about 88 years to go. 88 years to go with this filthy TAB of the contract. They're controlling the whole rot, and their fixed odds business. It's just, you can just imagine what it's like. It'd be like finding money on the ground. It's as I say, a race club's going to come along. Why don't all of you race clubs get together and just invite the TAB along and say, here's the contract we've got for the next 88 years. Rip it up in their face, say, sue us, we've got no money anyway, so I don't know where you can't make any money out of training race horses. There's no punters having a bet at the races. You take away 3 or 4 punters who are the main punters in more or less in Sydney and Australia-wide. There'll be no one having a bet. They want to be very, very careful. You've got to rip the TAB contract up. Let them sue them. They can't get anything off you because you most probably haven't got any money. And then say, look, go and build a race. Why don't you go with all your money? Go and build a race course yourself, and we'll start off from scratch again with just the on-course tote, and we'll call it the on-course tote. The on-course tote, and you have your TABs on every corner. You can have them outside the front gate of the race course if you want, but we're the on-course tote, and we're not going to be taking out 20% of the pool every race like you are. We're only going to take out 10%, and it'll gradually build up for us. We're out of business now. We might as well be out of business to start off from scratch again and see if we can save the game instead of going completely down the gurgler. How in the hell are you going to be able to survive with this filthy TAB for another 88 years? You won't be able to do it. Rosehill today, now the track was good, the rail was normal. When we got there, there was apparently after a lot of burning off, back burning to help the bushfires if they do come again. There was a good smoke haze all over Sydney. It stayed there for a couple of races, then a little more or less easterly or southeasterly came along and blew it away. It took me, I must admit, a little while to jerry, but it turned out, of course, the inside at Rosehill today was no good. Now, we did have, find out for yourself, but in the distance race, race 5, the 1800 metre race, we did have the winner and favourite Index Link never leave the fence, or yes it did, it left the fence, went around it when it went around its stablemate, who ran along nicely in the lead, done nothing wrong. It went around it, of course, and never left the fence and done nothing wrong, which led it, but it was the distance race, which is a little bit different to these sprints when it comes to being with the bias on the fence. Now, in race 1, they said there was 107.5 on the screen. A big discrepancy here with a lot of prices here today. Top fluck money about for runners, which you could get a lot better on course than the fluck actually showed. 107.5 in the first on the screen, 102 and a bit, like 102 and a half in the marketplace, and straight away, well, you can see number 1 in this race, Gamba, the best fluck was $4.20. Well, there was a blind man with a cane, God bless his heart, or all those people who haven't got any sight. I wish I had a magic wand to get it back for you. $4.60 was available, Gamba, and $1.70 the favourite, and $1.65 was best fluck, and so forth and so forth. Well, this favourite, they say it's only a very slight runner, this White Sage, but one thing about it is it's got lovely, nice, big, it might be very big, but it's got nice, big, solid hindquarters. And this is a very, very good horse, White Sage. It got the, I must admit, the good run and sat in the 1-1 position. It led on the fence and came again to run second, Just a Girl, after being headed by Gamba, who came off the fence and got around it halfway up the straight, and came again. And so it was in the worst section of the ground, Just a Girl. The winner finished up and favourite White Sage, winning by a couple of lengths, and it will only improve. I think it has got plenty of ability. Race 2, they said there was 104.8 on the screen, only 100, a neat 100 in the marketplace, at least 4% less. But this was a huge result for the captains. Number 9, there was a protest, second against first. Time for War, ridden by D. Thornton. I think he went to Bathurst yesterday and rode one for Gerald Ryan that absolutely bolted in. He looks like he's got a little bit of talent, this kid. It led, and when after they'd straightened up, it kept on hanging out under pressure. The second horse, Double Happy, who was very easy in the betting towards the end of betting, or halfway through onwards, there was, when you see the head on, every time it shifted out Time for War, it went out with it, I suppose, under pressure as well, Double Happy. But right near the line, with say 40 metres to go or less, it came out, and there was a very slight bump from Time for War onto Double Happy. Father Schofield stopped riding and let it go, just rolled to the line. Likewise, the winner. The margin was 0.2 of a length, about a head. Protest second against first, it was dismissed. Well, whether it should have been upheld or not, we all thought it would be dismissed because of the no contact situation. But anyway, that's debatable. It was dismissed, and the winner, it opened up a $17 chance. You wouldn't see it, of course. $26, the best luck. Well, there was $41 available in the betting ring, in the marketplace. to start at 26, $41 given. Well, we put them up 7-2 or 3-1. Number one, Scratch Me Lucky. It got out to $4.80. $4.40 was the best luck. Back into $4.20, hard to get at one stage, and started around about that price, or maybe $4.40. Double Happy, we put it up the $3.50 favourite, and it got out to as much as $4.80, back into about $4.60 towards the end of betting. And the runner that started equal favourite in this race was Next Level. It sat 3 wide, out just behind the pace, and eventually outside the leaders on the turn. And its name was Next Level. Maybe they found it because some smart netties, well, obviously had gone well for a start, Next Level, but some smart people might have thought that the inside was no good, and that could have had something to do with its sensational backing. It was $12 and 11-to-1 chance into $4.60. I had to wind off the $5 towards the finish, but the $5 into $4.60. They how much due at the $5? As I say, after 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, $5.50, and all the halves in between, they took the $5 to start 7-2 equal, or second favourite, or equal favourite. No, number one was $4.40 and it was $4.60. So it started second pick, it finished up. It finished up running about 6, and it was trapped wide, as I say. What's most probably saved the winner from getting beat was not staying close to the fence in the straight. Maybe, as it turned out, it was a blessing in disguise after it swung for home, hanging out after under pressure, because close to the fence was not the place to be. Race 3 came along, 102.2 to buckle your shoe on the screen for the robots in the grandstand, betting all the members unders in the marketplace, playing the hard, tough professionals and all the ex-card players who don't have a bet until the professionals bet, 97% only. And who won this race? It was won by Wouldn't It Be Nice? Wouldn't It Be Nice? Well, it fluked winning this race. It came from second last on the fence. It was off the fence turning for home, and we all saw what happened in this race. Blackboard Special. Now, it started the $3 favourite, a little bit less on the screen, but it was $3 on my board and on the fence when they jumped. As much, the best luck was $4, 3-to-1. There was $4.40, excuse me, hang on a sec, Pooty Blue. I'll tell you what, Pooty, you're not going to believe what he said. He's sending me some section. You won't believe what's happening. Anyway, I'll tell you that in a minute. This race, Blackboard Special, as I say, $4.60 bet the given, started $3, sensationally backed. Started equal favourite at 2-to-1 with the opening favourite Polaramore, $2.50 out to $3. Now, when they turned for home, it started to hang under pressure. Blackboard Special, ridden by the 3-kilo boy, and when they were sort of with a half a furlong to go, it veered out quite noticeably. It did a left-hand turn, and when it did that, it took care of Hebrung, who was on its outside, had already dropped off. It took care of, I think, who did it take care of? Well, it might have been still there. It might have still been there, Hebrung. But all I know is when it came out, one runner was pushed out, and then the next runner to get completely squashed up was Polamore, and when it got badly checked, it was eased out of the race. It finished up running 6, beaten 3.4 lengths. It was going to be right in the finish. It could have possibly won the race. Now, that's a bit of a statement, but I'd say if it didn't win the race, there would have only been maximum. That Pooty Blue doesn't kick in. Only a half a length in it if running right up where the winners finished, the placings finished, and T. Clark aboard when he got poleaxed, he just eased it out. Got, as I say, beat 3.4 lengths. It was on the outside of it after missing the jump by a good 3 lengths. Coravetti, ridden by bold Blake Shin, even though it missed the kick by 3 lengths, he did get to the outside of the widest runner in the straight, which was the place to be, of course. And it got a very bad check as well, not as bad as Polemore. And the fourth horse in this race, I can't understand why there wasn't a protest, at least third against, fifth or sixth. Can you protest if you run sixth? I don't think you can. Sixth, Polemore protesting, or even the fourth horse, because it was checked as well, Amavoto. While this was all happening, when they were playing the 10-pin with each other, knocking each other down, wouldn't it be nice? The $71 chance, it poked through the middle sort of thing and went through and won by 0.2 of a length, beating Amavoto. The leader Blackboard Special held on for third, and only 0.7 of a length away. Running fourth was Amavoto, and so run that race again and you would get a few different results. The favourite, or the equal favourite in that race, Blackboard Special, I did stand it. You could have easily seen the time that it ran and how it won last start at Grafton. That time, people who bet on times and so forth would have had it well in. But that day at Grafton before that meeting, you could easily come down the outside, and the fence wasn't really the place to be before this meeting when Blackboard Special won by a huge margin last start. But the meeting where it did win last start, I thought most of the place getters and a lot of winners were all close to the fence that day, and it was a little bit of an advantage. So it's run, even though it was eased down and won by a mile, its run was most probably a bit flattered. Spent plenty of time on that race. Now, race 4, 101.3 on the screen, 98% only in the marketplace, and this was a blessing in disguise for Hidden Warrior. It didn't lead, where it's always generally up near the lead, but it settled down in last position. I jerried, of course, after this race. The penny, it should have dropped before this, but it fell here when Zaratone finally got across to the lead on the fence, ridden by Killer Kath O'Hara. It was always under a bit of pressure, close to the fence, turning for home. Stayed very tight up against the fence all the way down the straight. Was only beaten 2.7 lengths. It wasn't the place to be. And as I say, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise for Hidden Warrior, who sat back in second last position, got to the outside and got past some fairly ordinary runners, including Pampalone, who finished up running last. It was resuming for a long spell. But then when you look at the tape, of course, you will see that the second horse, Black Magic, who drew barrier 1, it was 3 back on the fence. When they turned for home, every runner had more or less got past it. He had to, he was running up behind them with plenty of horse underneath him, Jay Ford, and when he went for a middle split, it just wasn't there, and he eventually had to ease around the other 5 runners' heels and go out after Hidden Warrior, who had got past the rest of them and went down only by 0.2 of a length. It was, it most probably should have won the race, but by the same token, if there was no bias on the track, I wonder whether Zaratone would have led all the way. So the Bias, and the unlucky runner, Black Magic. Race 5, they said 107.5 on the screen. Woo! No, only 100 in the marketplace. The robots got the best of it here. They gave the members, they had something up their sleeves for members. There was only a neat 100 in the marketplace. Who won this race? Oh, that's right, the favourite, Index Linked. A little tiny bit. I suppose if you have 10,000 on it, instead of winning 15,000, you win 16,000 if you're in the main ring. It's an extra 1,000. It'll take you a long way, even in an aeroplane these days. And it never left the fence. It went straight to the lead, as I say, done nothing wrong, and set not a torrid pace, but a nice solid pace up in the lead. And Father Schofield aboard Index Linked, he was on the back of the Offer, ridden by Adam Hieronymus, trained by Gay. The Offer was 3 back on the fence. At one stage, halfway through the race, it was second last, the winner, Index Link, and a good 12 lengths from the lead. When they turned for home, I should say, Adam Hieronymus eased off the heels and went around Choice Pro, who was in the one position. But Father Schofield, he went right along the 18 pence, and there was miles and miles of room. You could have driven a camel train through there, and it went when the leader done nothing wrong, started to get a little bit weary towards the end. He went around it and got past it. The race was over. He sat up with a few strides to go, and the Offer, the second favourite, made up a good bit of late ground, only to be beaten half a length. But as I say, he sat up on the favourite. Maybe if the Offer had stayed where the favourite went, what happens there? Does Father Schofield get around it and beat him? I don't know, because when he eased off the around the heels of the 4 in front of him, the winner did save a lot of ground. Anyway, you work that out for yourself when you look at it. That was about the race. Now, race 6, they said there was 110.1. They were cheering the robots. 110.1, 104 in the marketplace, a good 6% less. There was a late scratching at the barrier, aroused, which was an $18 chance when it was scratched. The winner here, Tahitian Black, it had barrier 1. It was $11 into $10 before the scratching of the 17 to 1 chance. We brought it into a $9 chance, an 8 to 1 pop. And some good man had with me the last bet I wrote in the book. As they jumped, he said, "Can I have 1,500 a place on Tahitian Black at $3? I said, "Of course you can." And of course, he had won the race. What a clever man he was. It had barrier 1, and when they turned for home, it was 3 back on the fence. But T. Clark, he did he ride it? Yes, he did. T. Clark did ride. He was really travelling. He had plenty of horse underneath him. He eased off the fence. He was able to ease around the heels of Kreskin, who finished up not leaving the fence, going inside the leader, who was the very, very well-backed and favourite Tralfaz, and it got beat 1.1 lengths. So it was in the worst section of the ground all the way, Kreskin. But this winner was trucking when he eased off its heels, and there was a fairly big gap appeared. He went through, and he got enough break to hold off Skiptown, who was resuming from a good spell. It came from, it was inside Mount Verdi. Mount Verdi was out on a limb, and Skiptown was inside it. He had a little bit of a nudgy shouldering few strides to get clear on Skiptown. When he did the Ishikawa, he went out after Tahitian Black, but the post was too close and he failed by 0.3 of a length. And as I say, after not leaving the fence all the way from barrier 2, Kreskin, it ran third, beaten 1.1. that's about that race. There were no runners that were badly held up or badly checked. The winner got a good run, and maybe if the track, if he wouldn't have got such a good run, or the second horse possibly might have won the race, and for that matter, the third horse staying on the fence might have been closer. But as I say, run that race again, you would get plenty of different results. Race 7, 100.8 on the screen. Oh my God, they said, what are you doing to us? But in the marketplace, hang on. Oh, I don't know what he puts in it, but it's the best vodka in the world, that Pooty Blue. Yeah, Pooty said to me, now look, I'm going to send some section down to you. He said, what currency would you like it in? I said, well, where do you think I'm living? Well, you know where I am. I said, Aussie dollars. He said, is it all right if I give you Yankee dollars? I said, yeah, good as gold. They're worth a bit less, aren't they? About the same. It's good as gold. That's all right. I said, yes. He said, now, I won't send it directly to you. He says, there's some people in Nigeria. They're going to send it along to you. I said, not Nigeria, please. Pick out anywhere bar there. Not Nigeria. He said, well, why? I said, oh, no. Haven't you? And the line cut out. He's too clever for me. Anyway, race 7, 94% only in the marketplace. These were the flux. Top one was Scratch Riva de Lago, who ran in Melbourne. Cup of Tea was $3.50 out to $4.80 into $4 back out to $4.40. My Lucky Day didn't have a, well, it did have a price. $8 out to 18 back into 16. Permit 30 out to 60. Full Gar, you wouldn't see it, $6.50 bet. $6 out to $6.50 into $4.60. Very hard to get. Frozen Rope, $9 out to $11 back into 10. Tax Me If You Can, $3 out to $3.40 back into $3.20. Successio the winner, $13 out to $17. I gave $17 like an absolute fool. Well, everyone knows that. Back into 13. And Tromso, now the best fluck about Tromso was $12, 11 to 1. It was $15 on the fence. It started 14 on the fence, plenty of 15 given, 14 to 1, not 11 to 1. So you can see there wasn't 108 or 100.8. It was only about 94 or 5%, not worth a caser. And it went straight to the lead. Tax Me If You Can. Didn't set a fast place, but it was on the fence in the worst section of the ground. It was finish up running third, beaten 0.9 of a length. On its outside, running second, they said that they were going to ride it. What did they say? They're going to push forward on Tromso, and they did. It sat outside the leader after being crossed, and on the fence behind the leader was the stablemate. Mr. Waller had 4 runners in this race. There were, by the same token, there were 8 runners. He only had half of the field. It sat fourth on the fence, Full Gar. On its outside was the winner, Successio, who always was travelling very sweetly, but it took it the entire length of the straight to wear down the stablemate and beat it by an I suppose. And coming from on the outside of Cup of Tea, who was missed the kick slightly and was well back, was Frozen Rope. And then we had Permit and the Lucky Day. It was tailed off. And as I say, it took it all the length of the straight to Bob the stablemate right on the line. Successio and the leader held on for third. Cup of Tea eased off their heels and was only beaten 1.1. and the and Fulgar, the other Waller runner, it was 1.2 lengths away. Run the race again, a few different results. The fence wasn't the place to be for the leader and favourite. Now, going back to a race, I was going to tell you there was one race there. Yes, it was in race 6. You wouldn't see it, but of course, Trollfez, who started favourite in race 6, it finished up running 4th. It crossed. Wasn't very clever, I thought, by Bowl Blake Shin. Surely he would have known the 18 pence wasn't a place to be, but he crossed from an outside alley and went straight across to the fence and led. It sat on its outside from an outside alley shiso, so most probably was hard for him to stay off the fence once he went up near the lead. And sitting 3 wide outside the pair was My Appeal, who missed the kick and was made plenty of use of to get up outside the lead, and it finished up being beaten 17.8 lengths. It's had a change of stable from Joe Pride, having first start for Terry Croft at Hawkesbury, and it dropped right out after being used up after missing the kick, as I say. I'm going back over this race again, but the Trollfez, we put it up a $5.50 chance. It was out to $6.50, you wouldn't see it. $5.50 on the fence, $6 on the fence given, $6.50 in the outside ring. At one stage, it was into $3.40. I was $3.50 when they jumped, but it was sensationally back from $6.50 into $3.50. We come to race 8, and in race 8, this was won by the very well-backed late Corey Vecken, who got a good run in the 1-1 position. It led on the fence Calvo. For a start, and I'll tell you how the running was. King Cobia on its outside. It finished up running 3rd, stuck on all right. The winner was on its back. Tucked in 4th on the fence was Magna Amica. How was it going to win? It was on the inside, which wasn't the place to be, and it was 4th. The second horse here, excuse me, that Pooty Blue. Solomon had barrier 1, been gelded, Solomon, and it's at 3 back on the fence. It was on the back of Magna Amica. Eased off the fence coming to the turn and was able to ease off heels and get to the outside of Corey Vecken. Looked like was going to race up and beat it, but Corey Vecken, I'd say the 3 kilo allowance was enough to kick in and give it that little extra help towards the line, and it beat Solomon, who was resuming from the spell, as I say, and had been gelded by 0.2 of a length. The King Cobia ran 3rd after sitting outside the lead. It came from back in the field, specific choice to run in 4th position. It was ridden by Father Schofield. We put it up a $3 chance. The best luck was $3.30. Was $3.50 when they jumped, and you couldn't. Well, I was $3.50 when they jumped, and I couldn't give it away. And Father Schofield settled back in second last position on the fence. They said that they were going to ride it back, specific choice. It had barrier 10 in a field of 11, and they did ride it back, and it turned for home in second last position on the fence. Father Schofield easing off heels, but it seems to be a very big striding galloper, and it more or less went to the line unextended. It was only beaten running 4th 1.3 lengths. If it were ridden a bit closer and had a bit of luck in the straight, I think it would have jumped over the top of them and won. Next start, you will have to get your you have to get your spikes on. I think you'll get your spikes on to get on it. it'll go up very short. So the last price will most probably be the best price about its chances next time it runs, because blind Freddie couldn't have missed its performance. That was about the meeting, and as I say, everybody is. I'm not the only one, but everybody. You only have to ask. Well, ask not punters and bookies and so forth. Ask all the other people who are associated with this game, whether they be trainers or you name it. They'll tell you that this game is fly blown, and the TAB is the cancer of racing.